walking the lines like you wanna go higher. I love it, love it, love it, love it. You wanna go, how about you dim the lights? They're going real far, you must have been tired. I love it, love it, love it, love it. Calling my name like a heart's alive. I'm falling deeper tonight.
What's up, guys? Okay, so I know I've been missing, but I'm back. And as you see, I'm rocking this luscious blonde. Yes, lucky for you, I am going to show you exactly how I was able to achieve this alongside this luscious blunt bob lob situation that I have going on. So if you're interested, keep watching.
I'll give it all, I'll give it all. I love it, love it, love it, love it. I can get out 'cause you dim the lights. Hitting way low when I'm going up higher. Falling deeper tonight.
So as you see, it's ready. And like I mentioned before, you want it to be like a runny whipped cream or a runny shaving cream. That basically makes it easier to dye the hair. Now we're gonna move on to actually dyeing the hair. First, you're gonna need some aluminum foil. And this is basically going to separate each piece. I wanted this piece to be a talk through so that I can show you some of the mistakes I made so that you wouldn't. First mistake I made was using too large of a piece. Yes, this is the section that I'm using and I broke it up, but I'm also using too big of pieces, which took a longer time to actually dye the hair. I know it seems so reverse, but the smaller pieces that you use, the faster you get dyeing the hair out of the way. And we're just using the mixture that we just concocted. So as you see what I'm doing, I'm still dyeing it the correct way. I just used too big of a piece, but you're gonna do it this exact same way. You're just gonna lightly brush because we still want our roots to be dark so that it can blend, since it's a wig, with our own natural roots. But if your hair is blonde, then by all means, dye the whole thing. We're doing it in sections because this level of developer, it does bleach pretty fast. It takes about 30 minutes for it to fully develop, but you're gonna brush it on lightly, little by little. And I start at right where I want the color to be blunt and shown, and then I work my way down, and then I go towards the top and I turn the brush to the side and add stripes and strokes so that it can blend a lot easier and look more ombre with the black that's initially going to be on the roots. After you've placed the bleach on the front and the back, you're going to go ahead and basically comb it out, making sure that it gets on every strand, and also brush it out. You want to make sure that it's on all the hair. And once you've done that, you completely wrap it in the aluminum foil and move on to the next piece. And repeat this step with every single section. Just make sure that your pieces that you're working on are on the smaller side. Trust me, it goes a lot faster this way. So I went ahead and rinsed out this section. Reason being is because it's the back and I didn't want it to sit as long, so I wanted it to be a little bit darker. But now I'm going to go ahead and finish the next section, and afterwards I'm going to show you how I rinse it out, the products that I use, and how I wash it, and so on and so forth. But go ahead and complete this section the exact same way that I showed you how to complete the section before. And each section takes about 30 minutes to do. So with the last piece that I do, I don't wash it with that section. I go ahead and let it sit, and I go ahead and wash it with the next section. If that makes sense. Reason being is because you want it to develop all the way through, and you don't want to leave any pieces that look a little darker or lighter than the other. You kind of want it to be even toned. So a good way to keep track of time while you're bleaching your hair is to set a timer right before you start bleaching. I always set it for about a good 45 minutes because it takes a good 5 to 10 minutes to actually prep the hair, and then alongside to keep going through with all the other pieces. After that 45 minutes runs up, I add an additional 10 minutes to the section that I want to specifically wash out. And remember, I mentioned there are going to be some pieces that you're going to do that you're not going to wash out with that section, but just keep track of time by keeping a timer on your phone. So follow these steps and you will be blonde before you know it. So as you see, as I'm rinsing, I still have some pieces that are still in foil. Reason being is because I had just done them, like I mentioned before, and they weren't fully developed. So I will wash them out in my next section. So now I've gotten to the top. I've already done both sides, the left and the right, and I'm going to show you how I dye the very top of the wig. So I go ahead and add the aluminum foil, and I start closer to the middle as we were doing before, and then I work my way down and up. Then I turn my brush to the side, doing fine, small strokes to make it, more ombre effect. I brush it out to make sure that it gets on every strand, and then I go ahead and I use my finger to do what the brush or the comb couldn't do. And once I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up, let it sit for a good 30 minutes, and then rinse it out. And that is how you dye the top. As you see, this is the end result, and I know it's kind of brassy. Don't worry, we're going to tone it. But just before we do that, I'm going to show you how I cut my hair into a bob, just like I promised. We're going to need 2 hair ties. And after, we're going to go ahead and split our hair down the middle. On each side, we're going to use those hair ties. I'm going to brush it, make sure that it's even, all the above, and tie it right at the desired length. So I want kind of like a long lob bob, so I tied my hair right where I wanted it, and I'm cutting right above it. I love this method because it's easy to cut straight, blunt cuts on wigs, your hair, weaves, whatever you choose. And it's really no mess, no cleanup. You could do a little bit of cleanup, but it just is an even cut, and I love it. So once you've done that, go ahead and repeat on the other side, and it's complete.
Walking the lines like you wanna go higher. Love it, love it, love it, love it. You wanna go higher, but you dim the light. Not going real far, you must have been tired. Love it, love it, love it, love it.
So after you're done mixing, you're going to want to put on gloves, which really you should have had on in the first place, so don't judge me. Then you are going to part your hair in sections in which you want to tone. These pieces can be a lot bigger than the pieces that we use to bleach, being that you're not necessarily changing the color, you're just enhancing it. So bigger pieces actually make things go a little bit faster. And as you see, I used way bigger pieces than I initially did when initially dyeing it. Sorry I used initially so much. But just follow these steps. You don't have to use any type of aluminum foil. You just put it right on. And once you are done, you're going to allow it to sit. And the way that you can tell that it is done is by seeing the color change purple. Yes, it's going to be a purple lavender hue. It takes about 30 minutes to happen. Once you've seen that all over the hair, go ahead and rinse it out. Now I'm going in with the Shimmer Lights Toner Shampoo, which is basically purple shampoo. I'm just going to go ahead and wash it and let it sit for about 5 minutes. This is basically going to continue to cancel out the brassiness that the toner already did. And yeah, once you have let it sit for 5, you're going to wash it out or rinse it out and continue on with the next step. So after it's all said and done, this is the end result. Isn't it gorgeous? I mean, no brass, straight up honey, dirty blonde with some lowlights and highlights. So as you see, I've pretty much already started flat ironing it and I look a hot mess. So from this point on, no real instructions. You're just going to follow me as I finish the rest of my hair. The only thing that I'll be talking about is how I flat iron the top of my hair a little bit differently than I do the bottom. So follow along. As you see, I like to split it into a small section, and then within that section, I like to go ahead and take a really small piece because I want the top part to be as straight as possible. Of course, we want all of our hair to be as straight as possible or the whole thing to be as straight as possible, but the very top is honestly the most important part to me, so I take it very seriously and I do little, small, tiny pieces like so.
Walking the lines like you wanna go higher. I love it, love it, love it, love it. You wanna go, how about you dim the lights?
Okay, I'm sorry. I have to interject. I don't know what I was listening to. I think it was my Beyonce station on Pandora, but I was clearly lit. So do excuse my jam session. Just stay tuned for the end result.
I'm falling deeper tonight.
So now that I'm done flat ironing my hair, I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the very, very top. As you see, it is frumpy and lumpy, and I'm not cool with that. We need it to lay flat like so. And I actually have the perfect solution, a blow dryer. Yes, so I'm gonna take it off of my head, put it back on the canvas head, and blow dry the hair at the very top. This is basically direct heat, so it is going to make sure that it lays as flat as possible.
Get out 'cause you dim the lights. Hidden way low when I'm going up higher.
And once you are done blow drying it, go ahead and brush it out and it is complete. This is how I chose to rock it. I am so pleased with the color, the cut, the everything. I mean, it's like the perfect blunt bob lob situation and honey blonde or dirty blonde, however you describe it. I'm hoping that this was super helpful and I'm hoping that this makes up for my absence. I'm so sorry I left you guys so long, but I'm back. And yeah, if you have any questions, go ahead and ask me below and all product descriptions will be in the description box. All right, it's Flying Unicorn and I'm signing out as usual. Peace, guys.